We've waited a long time for Harumafuji's version of the events which cost him his career. Well, now we have it, courtesy of his book Body and Soul. The relevant chapter is entitled Shocked by Sudden Media Reports. Here it is. November the 14th, 2017. Fukuoka Basho Day 3 and the Tokyo edition of Sports Nippon newspaper carries the following headline. The real reason Harumafuji pulled out. Yokozuna suspected of beer bottle violence as Takanoiwa suffers fractured skull. Incident at Mongolian group drinking party on October 26th leaves Yokozuna's dignity called into question. Why, Haruma? Staring at the newspaper my driver always handed to me, I was astonished. The angle of the report was that I might be in a fatally damaging situation. But striking Takanoiwa with a beer bottle? What? Okay, I can say with absolute confidence that never happened. But did I injure Takanoiwa? Yes, I did. However, I thought we had settled all that weeks previously. That's why I descended the stairs to the training area in shock, and got a further one when I found the place heaving with media men. After that morning's training was over, I tried to seize the initiative, telling those journos directly. With regard to Takanoiwa's injury, I humbly and deeply apologize for the trouble I've caused Takanohana Oyakata, Takanohana Stable, and all its supporters, staff, and affiliates. And, as I was carrying an elbow injury, I did actually pull out of the tournament that day. Now, so much has been reported, and I'm sure you already know most of this. But just to reiterate, this is what really happened. On October the 25th, 2017, on the Tottori leg of the autumn tour, I attended a dinner with two rikishi who had graduated from the local Johoku High School, Harumafuji and Takanoiwa. This school does so much for the development of Mongolian sumo, offering scholarships to promising teenage wrestlers and even employing Mongolian coaches. They look out for us, and that's why they invited the 3 Mongolian Yokozuna to their event: Hakuho, Gakuryu, and myself. For the after-party, we all went to a karaoke lounge bar. There, Hakuho began to admonish Takanoiwa on his general behavior. Takanoiwa responded by pulling out his smartphone and ignoring him. "Oi, what you doing?" I asked. "I got a mail from my girlfriend," he replied. "What?" I retorted. "Here we have a great Yokozuna warning you as to your conduct, and that's what you do?" That was the moment I flipped and started to punch him. Just so there's no misunderstanding, can I stress that I didn't hate Takanoiwa? I had taken him out for dinner several times, and we'd actually bonded over the fact we had both lost parents in our 20s. I supported him, wanted him to succeed. Now, at the Tottori sumo event the following day, Takanoiwa actually came up to me to apologize. We peacefully resolved the situation and parted with a handshake. As far as I was concerned, it ended there. And at that stage, I had no idea my actions had caused him to need stitches. But several days later, on November the 3rd, my stable master summoned me. "The sumo chairman has been inquiring about an incident on the tour. Did something happen?" I wondered what on earth he could mean, and had to check with stablemate Harumafuji. "Well, you know when you hit Takanoiwa," he began. "Takanohana's making a big deal of it." Jolted into realization, I hurried back to my coach's room and recounted that night's events to him. Now, as one of my supporters was getting married later that day, my coach and I both returned to Tokyo to attend the ceremony. And on the way back to Fukuoka, my coach said, "We'll go and apologize tomorrow." But after the next day's training session, He was unable to contact Takanohana and decided it was best to wait and see how things played out. The problem was, we were still waiting for a response by the time the November tournament began. Before I continue, let me just go over the history of Mongolians in sumo and the nature of our relationships. The first 6 Mongols to enter pro sumo did so in 1992. Kyokushuzan, Kyokutenho, and Kyokutenzan were all part of the group which joined the former Oshima stable, to which my own coach also belonged. Japanese sumo was barely known about in my homeland back then, and it was a real culture shock to the 6 lads, who soon became 3. But the success of those 3 triggered a Mongolian sumo boom, which saw many youngsters strive to become rikishi. Over the past 26 years, more than 80 of my countrymen have turned professional, and around 2/3 of them made it to the 2nd division and above. Now, it was not like we met every day or anything, but when Asashoryu became Yokozuna, a Mongolian rikishi group was officially formed. Rather than an excuse to eat and drink ourselves silly, this was like a mutual aid association. We collected membership fees and used them to support those among us who were sick, injured, bereaved, getting married, having a baby, holding a funeral, or forced to retire without ever having enjoyed the perks of salaried level life. Membership was limited to active wrestlers, and the premise was to help each other in times of need. We also helped cover the medical costs of ailing Mongolians who wrote to us, and helped set up a Mongolian language school for Mongolian kids based in Japan. As of 2018, this rikishi group currently comprises 24 active members. If truth be told, there are wrestlers and coaches who dislike groups such as ours, but I insist, we are not out to disrespect or disregard the boundaries of the stable system. We simply want to help those who enter unforeseen difficulties while living in a foreign country, to be a form of insurance in a case of emergency. Back to Takanoiwa then. As I had caused him injury, my coach and I made sure to go down to Takanohana's Kyushu base camp to apologize, but our meeting never materialized. The second time we went there, Takanohana conspicuously got into a car right in front of us, and as if he hadn't even noticed we were there. That was quite a shock. Of course, I'm okay with that. I had hurt one of his treasured students, and he was probably raging mad at me. But he also ignored my stable master, who got to Yokozuna before him, and is therefore his sumo senior. In a sumo world which prizes manners so highly, unbelievable! I was so sorry my coach had to go through that because of me. So that's when I decided to retire. My coach and his wife had continuously looked after me from the beginning. Having let them, the stable, and the Sumo Association down as I had, retirement seemed like the noble thing to do. After that, though, every time I turned on the TV, there was my picture accompanied by headlines about the incident. My body was hurting from the sudden abandonment of training, the back of my head especially so. I consulted a doctor, also an acquaintance, who told me to stick to salads, fruit, and water for the next 3 days. I did as he said, and came to realize just how much you have to chew your salads to consume them properly. And if you're always chewing, nothing seems tasty. I lost about 5 kilos in 3 days, but the headaches wouldn't go away. After my blood pressure was measured as very high, I was put on medication. I'd never felt so alone. Everything I said seemed useless. I telephoned my mum to assure her reports of beer bottles were false and that she should try not to worry. When the media began to attack me, as you'd expect, the person who worried most was my mum. Fortunately, she trusted me. Everybody knows you wouldn't stray from the moral path, were her words of comfort. But each time I woke up in the morning, the story seemed to get worse. A media typhoon had turned the mostly calm ocean into choppy waters. TV pundits kept speaking as if they were there, saw it with their own eyes. Thankfully, I also received calls of support from my sumo patrons. "We believe you, Yokozuna! Don't retire on us!" As the incident had come to light during the tournament, I didn't wish to deflect further attention from the sumo by retiring mid-basho, so I decided to make my announcement after the tournament. On the final night down in Fukuoka, many of my best sumo friends came round my stable's base to cheer me up and try to talk me out of quitting. But on November the 29th, I brought the curtain down with the submission of my retirement papers. As of summer 2018, I'm yet to speak with Takanoiwa directly, but we have communicated through sumo intermediaries. I've heard that he denies responsibility for my retirement. According to him, he had no control of the situation. That's what he let slip. And of course, if you saw my posts in January, you'll now know that Harumafuji and Takanoiwa have made up, and that Takanoiwa may have the chance to work at the Harumafuji school in Ulaanbaatar. If you want to hear more from Harumafuji, just let me know in the comments box, and I'll try to find the time to do some more translations soon.